Yo, what's going on, guys? It's currently 5:50 a.m. today. Just woke up, made some morning concoction that I'm starting to drink now. It's actually strong greens and strong reds from BPN Sups. If you guys watch Nick Bear, then you guys know exactly what this is. I've been watching his videos a lot, and I've been grabbing a lot of inspiration from him for my vlogs and content, so I wanted to follow suit and see what it was about. So far everything's been actually working really well from him, and I've been taking his strong vitamins, or strong multivitamin, and his strong joints as well. So following the morning snack. No coffee this morning, but is what it is. We're trying something different. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about what happened during the coding interview process. Supposedly it should still be going on, but I doubt it. Things went a little south last week. If you guys didn't watch the last video, I was prepping for the coding interview process. It was actually a coding exercise that I had to turn in, so I was prepping for that. And like I just said, things went a little bit south last week, so I kind of want to talk to you about that. So let's get this morning started. Alright, so just to get started in the morning, doing a little bit of admin work. I'm answering some emails that came through overnight or yesterday that I didn't get to answer while I was busy. So going through some of the emails here, and then I will actually be hanging out to the gym. Got to get there at 8 to work out, and then I have a doctor's appointment at 10, which I think I will bring you guys along with me on the car ride, at least, to talk a little bit about what happened during the coding interview, and then get the rest of the day going, kind of go through some coding stuff on here and things like that. But I think on the car ride we'll talk a little bit more about what's been going on in the coding interview. So let's get the day started. Alright, so just got done at the gym. Well, I didn't just get done, but I got out of the gym, and we're going home from the doctor's office now. To preface the doctor's office, last week on Tuesday is when I had the coding exercise that I had to turn in. Before that, the week prior, on Friday, I had gotten sick. Now, it wasn't COVID. I got tested for COVID, and that test came back negative, thank God. But I'm convinced it was food poisoning, 100%. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that food was the main cause of my sickness, but I was not feeling well at all that last Friday. And I mean, I was just shot. Like, so Saturday and Sunday, I was in bed all day. I was just, out for the count, couldn't really focus, and I essentially just lost 2 days of prep time for the coding exercise, because in the last video I was not ready for a data structures and algorithms coding exercise at all. My history and what I've been focusing on mainly is front-end development, so that made it a little bit more difficult for me, because I was cramming in a whole bunch of computer science fundamentals into less than a week, and it was a lot on me. The other thing too that I think really kind of aided in me getting sick was a lot of the stress that I put on myself, trying to cram all that into less than a week. So I kind of really was in a bad position from the get. But got sick on Friday initially, and that kind of lasted all the way through last week, and I'm just now coming back. So Tuesday was not a good day. I was still recovering. I felt better from the weekend, but I was still recovering from the sickness. I still could not focus at all. I was in a lot of pain, and again, just couldn't focus was the main thing. So I said, you know what, I have to turn in this coding exercise regardless. It is what it is. Unfortunately, all the timing and all that didn't really go my way, so we're gonna have to bite the bullet, and I did. So we took the exercise, and I say we, it's just me, but I started the exercise. It started out all right. The first question, and by the way, I took this online, and it wasn't proctored in any way. It was a coding assessment, or general coding assessment, on a website called Code Signal, I want to say it was called. It's
similar to HackerRank, if you guys have used that website before for interview prep and things like that. So I went on there, and the first question wasn't too hard. I can't really say what was on it, just because that's kind of the rules that they set in place, is that I can't really discuss like the actual question set. So it wasn't too difficult. That one, it took me a little bit, maybe like 5 minutes to really like comprehend and put together a solution, and I put it together and all the tests ran perfectly, so I was kind of pumped. That gave me a little bit of a high of just, okay, this might not be so bad. And on to the next one, the next question, then those got a little hard. Those were the ones where it really, really stumped me, and I didn't know what it was asking of, because again, it's all DS and algo, and it's a lot of computer science theory and all the fundamentals that I didn't have set in place, and that I have no one else except for myself to blame that I didn't prep enough in advance to really do my best or do better than what I had done for this specific situation. So those last 3 questions, it was a 4 question exercise that I had to turn in. I did what I could. There was one question where I literally didn't do anything to, I couldn't really understand what it was asking. So I said, okay, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'm going to move on to the other 2 and try to see what I can do. And, I saw the questions on the last 2 questions, and they were still very difficult for me. I didn't really know how to go about it. So, I just started writing a solution to those problems. It didn't really work, obviously. I comprehended the question slightly. Solutions didn't pass. I passed maybe 2 tests, and those were the base cases that they were asking for. But those were kind of a bust. So I try to leave a track of this is where I was coming from. I left some comments of what my thought process was and how I wanted to go about the problem and how I wanted to try to tackle it. But at the end of the day, I still didn't solve it. So what I ended up doing was screenshotting the last 3 questions as my time was running out. I was capped at 70 minutes, I believe. So I screenshotted the last 3 questions, and my plan was to then try to solve them on my own, and then follow up in another email saying, hey, I know I didn't solve these in the given time frame or solve them at all, and here are my solutions. Hopefully we can go from here, because I want to show them that I can actually do these things, even though right now I'm not qualified. When are we really qualified, right? So that's what I did. I screenshotted it. I haven't sent them in yet because I still haven't solved them. That whole week after Tuesday, I just needed to just reset. Again, I was just burned out from the sickness. I couldn't really focus. I was on some medications that made me drowsy, so I literally slept most of the week anyways, which was nice, because I haven't really been putting a priority on sleep at all these last couple weeks, really. So I slept a lot, caught up, and just really, really rested up the body, and kind of just, again, reset my mind, reset the body, and now I'm feeling fresh, feeling good. But that's kind of what happened with the whole coding interview scenario. I doubt the company is going to reach back out and continue the process. My expectations are very, very low. I don't really think that, with what I turned in is going to be viable enough for them to reach back out. And the next steps would have been a technical phone screen, or technical phone interview or screening, however you want to call it. That would have been the next step. I don't know if it would have happened this week. We're already on to Tuesday, and no phone call yet, or no email. So we're gonna see what happens. I'm not very hopeful. But again, me not being hopeful isn't a negative thing. I've learned a lot from this experience. I've learned that I need to be more prepared for situations like this. It was good experience regardless, just to go through that coding exercise and try to get my feet wet in an actual setting where this means something, like this is like your job or not. So it was a good experience all in all. I walk away with something positive. I may not have gotten the job. We don't know yet, right? So still positive experience that I'm taking away. I'm now going to spend a lot of my time prepping for these kinds of interviews, for these kinds of exercises, and do a lot more practice on the computer science side of things. I really need to learn that since I'm a self-taught dev. I don't know these things. I didn't go to school, especially not for computer science, so I'm in the dark on it. I'm a little blind as far as computer science fundamentals and things like that. So that's the goal right now. I'm going to practice a lot more front end. Obviously, you're always going to be learning things, but I am also going to add computer science into my own self-curriculum and try to teach myself these things. These are things that I unfortunately need to know, even though as a front end dev, we don't need computer science stuff. But as most of you know that probably watch my videos and go on my Instagram, is computer science is kind of the basis of a lot of interviews. They test you on all the computer science fundamentals, and even though you're a UI dev, front end dev, not a back end or software engineer, you still need to know these things. And it's unfortunate, again, like I said, we don't need or utilize those in the actual job itself, but it's still something you're required to know. And at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? And that's going to be part of my curriculum now. But that's what happened last week. Unfortunately, it was a bust in my head. Good opportunity, good experience, just to reiterate that. But it is what it is. We move on. So now we're heading back home, almost home now. I like these car talks. It allows me to kind of just vent and talk about what's on my mind, even though it's only to a camera, but it's still nice to just talk. So I think I'm gonna implement more of these in my videos and try to just speak to you guys and talk about whatever's going on in my world, and try to talk through it, because these are beneficial, I feel like. Hopefully it's good content, but that's what's happening. We're driving home now, almost home. What are we gonna do when we go home? We're going to, I have a side project that I kind of want to tackle, that I've been meaning to tackle, so I might actually just introduce that in this video right now. Aside from that, it's going to be more computer science, maybe. We're going to go through the Codecademy course again for the JavaScript interview prep. I think the next thing on the list that I was going to learn, list, makes me think of linked lists, which is what I finished already. But we're going to be learning about queues, I believe, which is another data structure that we need to know. So that might be on the plan, but we'll see what's going to happen. But heading home now. I'll see you guys when we get there.
A few moments later.
All right, so I was actually just doing some admin work. Got home, and there was a couple emails that I had to take care of, but I actually just got an email back from the company, from the recruiter, essentially saying, based upon the correctness, the grading of the coding assessment, they're not going to be pursuing and going forward with me as a candidate, and they're going to go for other ones. So that's what's pretty much the final decision of the coding interview. Again, positive experience, not really worried about it, but just know that as far as this company goes, that opportunity that ship has now sailed. So on to bigger and better things. All right, so it's actually been a couple days later. I had to take a little bit of a break from filming and focus on some of the other stuff that I had to do, such as some content creation for some brands, some products that are coming out, and as well as just focusing on me. I've been focusing a lot more on my recovery since, as I've been talking about in previous clips, I was sick, so Recovery means a little bit more to me, sleep, nutrition, and just overall rest in general has been more of a focus for me. So took a little bit of a hiatus from filming. It's been a couple days since the last clip, but let's go into, I want to end the vlog on the side project that I actually started. I want to show off what I have so far, what the plan is for it, and how I'm going to tackle it in the future, and then I will implement it more in the vlogs to come. But let's hop into it right now.
All right, so like I said at the clip before, I'm going to show you what side project I've been working on, what it's looking like, how I want to build it, and then what I'm going to be doing in the future to implement more features and what kind of features and yada yada yada, all that kind of stuff. So let's get into it. This is kind of the bare bones ish look to it right now. Obviously it's not going to look like this once it's done, but I whipped this up in a couple hours. I'm using React and Tailwind to build this app right now. Tailwind obviously for the design part, and React as the underlying framework for it. The app itself is, let me actually just preface it. So if you guys are just watching me now, obviously I do CrossFit, and we have a lot of Olympic lifting in CrossFit, and we use barbells in general. One of the problems that we run into a lot is plate math. So, adding up the weights sometimes gets a little difficult, and it gets really annoying having to do those calculations. So, a lot of the things that I read online are create something to solve a problem. And this is one of the problems that I found necessary in my life to kind of address. So here we go. I've built an app like this before, but it was kind of bad. I made it in React Native, and it worked, but it wasn't that great. So here I am making the version 2 part of it, and I'm starting off with a web app, and then I will move on into the React Native side of things. So for right now, it's called Barbell Weight Calculator. If I come up with a better name, or if any of you guys have a better name for it, please feel free to comment that down below. But this is obviously just a title. This is going to be mobile first, so that's why it's very, very minimal. I'm trying to make it as minimal as possible so that it's easier to kind of add responsiveness to it. So for right now, it's just this little box here. In here is an input where you will input the weight that you necessarily need. My plans right now are to add some sort of toggle feature up here or down here. Can you not see my cursor? Oh, well, I guess you can't see my cursor. I didn't really necessarily configure this Streamlabs to record my cursor, I guess. But anyways, we'll make do. So at the very top of the box, I'm going to probably end up making a toggle so you can select if you're using a men's bar or a woman's bar. So obviously it'll be a conditional, and probably a piece of state where if you select men's bar, it's going to be 45 pounds. If you select a female bar, it's going to be 33 pounds, and it's going to add that weight to the overall weight here. So as of right now, I just have it so that if I input, let's just say 125, it's going to show this box here of plates you need, and then I just have this as a piece of state, the value that's inside this input, and it spits out the weight. So obviously that's not what I want. I want to show what weights you need down here. So if you needed a 45, a 25, a 35, so on and so forth, that'll show up down here. Right now I'm just working on the view aspect of the app, and then I will move on into the actual logic that needs to work on behind here. So that's kind of the minimal aspect I'm going for this app. I don't know necessarily what it's going to look like in the end, and I don't know how I'm going to implement the actual logic. I'm still trying to figure all that out, as that's probably it is the most important part of this app to make it work. So that's what this looks like so far. The submit button doesn't necessarily work just yet. I'm going to try to figure all that out, but let me show you what the code looks like, and then we will end the vlog there. All right, so here is the code editor. Obviously, I'm using VS Code. For those of you that are already going to ask, I'm using Morgan.code's theme and the Victor Mono font in my IDE. So let's just get that out the way. Now let me go over the overall structure. So far, I used create React app to bootstrap this whole thing. Went through a whole process of getting Tailwind to go in, so that's why you'll see this post CSS config, and as well as the Tailwind config here. And this is obviously the default index.js. So let's move into app.js, where the main thing, everything kind of sits. So obviously I'm using the useState hook here. Right now I have two components only. So it's the weight input, which is the main box that you saw earlier, and then the display weight component, which is the smaller box that pops up once you input something. And I have that sitting right now in a simple div styled with Tailwind, which is nice as its only class name, so it makes code a lot simpler to read. And here is the conditional rendering. So if the weight is true, then I will show the display weight, and that only if you type something in. So let's look at those individual components right now. Also, just to mention that the state, I'm not using use context just yet. I'm trying to see if I actually need to use it, since this is going to be a single page and kind of simple-ish app. I don't know if I really need to use the context provider to distribute the state across multiple components. Being that they're child components anyways directly under app, I don't know. I don't necessarily think I need it yet, but if I do, then I'll go that route. For right now, it's just the state's just going to be sitting on the parent app, or parent component right now. So for the weight input component, this is what it looks like as of right now. So I have two helper functions going on: handle submit, handle change. The only one that really works right now is handle change, which I'm setting the state to the target value of my form. Inside the actual component itself is a div holding the form, and again, styled with Tailwind, and labels, inputs, all styled up, and everything's hooked up so that once you type something in, then that will then go over back up through the set weight function that comes from the state that I pass down into the component here in the parent. Okay, so very simple, nothing too crazy. And then display weight, very simple as well. It just takes the state coming from the parent, another div that holds just the title, and then the state piece itself. So in the end of everything, this will not be the weight that you input. This will be the outputted weight that gets calculated from whatever weight you input. So these are all just view components. I have not made the actual logic piece of it yet. That's where we're at right now. That's the app so far. Obviously, nowhere near done. I whipped this up in a couple hours, like I said before, and I have a lot of work to do. So that's going to do it for today. That's going to do it for this vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Bringing you along my journey so far and through the ups and the downs is kind of fun. I'm going to be doing a lot more content for YouTube, a lot more vlogs, just so expect a lot more out of me. I'll be bringing you along, building this side project and building whatever else, or learning whatever else it is, and bringing you along that journey with me. So again, I want to thank you all for sticking with me. Please comment, like, and subscribe. If you guys have any questions, just hit me up. All my links and everything else is going to be in the description, so check that out there. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.